Hey there, this is your girl Candace Duff coming at you all the way live from a sunny South Florida. Happy New Year. It's New Year's Day, and it's the first day of the Three Rivers Challenge. And I was about to start some meal prep here for the week because you know what they say. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I don't plan to fail, right? But I realized that I'm starving. I mean, I didn't have breakfast. I had a late lunch like several hours ago, and I'm starving. So the first thing I'm going to do is make myself a high protein pizza. Um, Personal pizza, basically, that's less than 500 calories, but it has over 40 grams of protein. Because, one of the things that I plan to do during this challenge is to keep up my macros, which I had set at 1,800 calories for now. And I'm aiming for 150 grams of protein. Of course, when I eat vegan, anything over 100, I'd be happy with. So I have here, according to this recipe, which I will try to link below if I can figure out where the heck I got it from, um, 70 grams of double O pizza flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, an eighth a teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that up, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. And hopefully I won't tip the camera while I do that. All right, so you can see I have all that stuff in here. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up, whisk together the dry ingredients. Okay, so now I'm going to add the 80 grams, which I have here, because y'all remember I had that yogurt. Oh, my oven's ready. I had that yogurt that I had to use up in the refrigerator, the one that had expired earlier this month. Thank goodness it turned out to be still good. I used some of it, I sniffed it, and it appears to be still good. So we're good there. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to get all the yogurt out of the cup and into the bowl. All right. So I'm going to use this Danish dough whisk, which is fantabulous, by the way. I don't know if you have one of these, but I heard about it from Becky at Acre Homestead. I watch her channel a lot. And she turned me on to this. I didn't even know about a Danish dough whisk until I saw her channel. And it works beautifully. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing in the yogurt with the flour to the best of my ability. Oh, what I like about this is not a lot sticks to the whisk. All right. But it mixes everything up nicely. So now I'm going to do what I can. And what I should have done, it's too late now, is put some flour on my hands. What I'm doing now. And I'm going to try to bring this together with my hands. This dough was feeling pretty wet to me, actually. Even though I did the exact measurements. And it may be because I've never used this type of dough before. This type of flour, I should say. Double O pizza flour. I mean, I found it way back in my cabinet. And I would have shown you this too when I showed you the rest of the video if I had seen it. Who the heck buys pizza flour and never uses it? I guess me. What can I tell you? Anyway, what I'm doing in here, in case you're wondering, is I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting all the flour out of the bowl. So I'm basically kneading it in the bowl for now, trying to get the flour into the dough, which it is happening. All right. And now I'm going to roll it out. All right, try to pat it down. I'm definitely not an expert baker. So my adventures in baking should be highly amusing in general on this channel. I mean, I have made pizza before, but not with this dough. When I first looked at the recipe, it confused the heck out of me because it talked about yeast, but then it just said for taste. And I was like, really? So apparently, this is a no rise dough, which is shaping out to be anything but a circle. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. I'm trying hard to make this at least a personal size pizza. Do you see I'm struggling a bit here? Ooh, and my dough is starting to stick. Get over there. Okay. All right, so it's really, oh, there's more space in here. It's really thin. So basically I'm just gonna make this a personal size pizza, which I guess by personal I mean really tiny. So what I'm gonna do, because I don't want to fool around with this anymore, it's really thin, is I'm gonna go ahead and place it in here, but I'm gonna spray this bad boy first because I do learn some lessons and I don't want my pizza to stick. And of course, I drop the top. Now I'm going to miraculously get this dough, oh, this baking mat, ooh, and onto the cookie sheet. Ooh, minor miracle achieved. Okay. So now I'm going to use these little bits of mozzarella that I had in my refrigerator just sitting around. And I'm also going to use this classical spaghetti sauce that I've had sitting around in my refrigerator. So, in the vein of using up what I have in the house, and in the spirit, that's what I'm going to do. All right. So I'm spreading it around, not quite to the edge of the pizza. Although this dough is so thin. Okay. Next, I'm going to put the cheese. So this is some fat-free Kraft mozzarella that I had in my refrigerator. So I'm putting that here. And I'm just going to spritz it a little bit because fat-free cheese never melts the way you want it to if you split it. And then I'm going to add some of this low moisture part skim mozzarella on top, which actually melts better. Okay. All right. So now I've used up all of this. So I'm achieving some missions. And most of this stuff free, which I'll use in the next pizza. If I can find my other low moisture part skin mozzarella, which is in the freezer. Okay, so actually, you know what the heck? It'll just be a really cheesy pizza. All right. What the other thing that makes this a high protein pizza is you're using shredded ham, basically. And I happen to have this ham in my refrigerator. So I'm going to use this as my pizza topping. And that's going to add 12 grams of protein to this already high protein pizza. So between the cheese, the ham, and the Greek yogurt, and the double O pizza dough, this little pizza packs a whopper in terms of protein. All right, so I'm gonna put this in the oven, and it says, I have it at 400 degrees, and it says for 10 minutes. And I'll be back to let you know what it looks like. Okay, so the timer's gone off. And what we're gonna do is take a look inside and see what we can see. That's looking pretty melty to me. So I'm gonna go ahead, and take it out. That is my pizza. Now, y'all are probably gonna laugh at me because it is not in a pizza shape, but it looks very edible. So I'm gonna let this cool off, and then I'm gonna have me some lunch, and then I'm gonna come back and make my New Year's Eve dinner. All right, y'all. That pizza could have been cooked a little bit more on the inside, but it was really tasty. I mean, what wouldn't be with all that cheese and all that ham? And it really hit the spot. But now it's time to cook dinner. So we're going to do that. Now I'm going to start off with this onion because I'm doing a recipe from the Food Network. And I got this recipe a long time ago. It's for vegan collard greens for the most part. Well, it is vegan if you don't use chicken stock for the broth. You could use veggie broth instead for the broth, but there's no ham hocks or anything in there. And the reason why I'm mentioning ham hocks is because my mother, although she was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, she spent summers with relatives in Tennessee. She had an aunt and uncle who lived in Tennessee on a farm. And they're the ones who taught her how to cook. And she was an amazing cook. She's no longer with us, but she made some mean Southern food. I mean, everything from fried chicken to any Southern dish you could possibly want. And she taught me, I mean, I make a mean fried chicken myself. She taught me a few things. She tried to teach me more. I was very bookish. I wasn't like in the kitchen all the time, but she did teach me some things. Now, the funny thing is, she would make collard greens and she was famous for her collard greens. I mean, they were so good. Like whoever she made them for, whoever ate them were raving about them for years. My friends who would come to my house for Thanksgiving when I was in college and law school, they would rave about the food. They would attack me when I got back to the dorm because they knew that my mother sent pies with me, back to school. So it was pretty funny. But her secret, her collard greens had a special secret. Well, first of all, just like any typical Southerner, she put, smoked turkey neckbone or smoked ham in with her collard greens. But her secret, though, was hot sauce and sugar. That combination, along with the smoke flavor from the meat, made her collard greens irresistible. And she got the balance just right. And I learned how to do that. But when I got this recipe, I figured out how to recreate it or how to make it just as good with like liquid smoke. And of course, her sugar and we don't use a lot of sugar, her sugar and her hot sauce. But this recipe, which is supposed to be for Swiss chard, uses an onion and it uses red pepper flakes. That's the equivalent of her hot sauce. And it uses vinegar, apple cider vinegar. And so that combination really gives flavor to these vegetarian collard greens. And I actually made them for my mother one year and she loved them. I was shocked because I didn't expect anything. I didn't expect any good remark, I mean, she's the queen. She was the queen of collard greens, but she actually liked them. In fact, she said something really strange. She said, "Wow, these are amazing." She goes, "God will send you a really nice husband one day." And I looked at her like she had two heads because I was already divorced. And the last thing I was thinking about was another husband. But anyway, I guess that was her way of telling me A, she wanted me to get remarried and have some grandkids, and B, that she really liked the collard greens. I don't know what to tell you. But I will never forget that day. So if you're wondering what on earth am I doing, I'm basically making sure because I got a huge batch of collard greens in my delivery. I had a delivery on the last day before the challenge yesterday. Um, and I use Instacart for my grocery deliveries. And when they made a mistake, it doesn't happen often. I mean, I have them trained pretty well with the instructions, in my account, don't bring me something that's not organic if I ask for organic or whatever. Not that I get organic everything, but just the dirty dozen. I make sure I get, organic. But anyway, and I told them bring me 2 batches of collard greens and 2 batches of kale. What did I get? 4 batches of collard greens. This is only half the collard greens, y'all. I have no idea how I'm going to eat all these collard greens. I guess I'm going to have to freeze some maybe and cook them in other dishes down the road. So basically, I have this huge batch of collard greens. And what I'm doing is making sure that we don't have huge stems like this still left in them. Now, of course, I soak these things. I wash them very carefully. You have to, because collard greens contain all kinds of dirt and creepy crawlies in there if you don't if you don't clean them properly and make sure. So I did the whole thing, the baking soda, the salt, blah, blah, blah. And I washed them, drained them, rewash them, soak them, and everything else. These are some very clean collard greens, and they're almost ready to go into the pot. So I'm just prepping them now, and then we're going to get to cooking them. Now, this recipe is really strange because it has you putting like apple cider vinegar, red pepper flakes, and a few of the spices in the pot first. And don't put your face over that because forget it. I made that mistake one year and almost burned off my eyeballs. It made no sense. So you really do have to be careful. But you put that in for like 2 minutes and then you add the grains, which cook down. I mean, I know this looks like a lot of grains, but they do actually cook down to the pot. So, and then you cook the greens for like 20 minutes and you add some broth before you do that. So now that we have these bad boys cleaned up and prepped and we have our onions cooked, sliced over here, I'm going to go ahead and bring you over to the pot so you can see what's happening there. All right, so we're adding 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to the pot. And I've had this apple cider vinegar forever and a day. I get the 2 big bottles from Costco. So this is part of my use it up campaign. I guess it would behoove me to turn the pot on. I don't know. Oh, wait. Stop. All right, so here's the apple cider vinegar. They say to add the onions to the pot. And I'm going to try to make sure I don't put my face in there because it is not pleasant when you do that. All right, we're supposed to have 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, of all things. Let me just make sure this is right. Whoops. Actually, it was supposed to be a pinch. I guess we have more nutmeg than we need to. Whoops. Of course, I would read that after I put it in there. I was thinking about a different recipe. Okay. 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. Whew, I can smell that. 3 cloves of garlic. Let me see if I can find my garlic. You would think I'd have my mise en place in place before I started videoing, but no, not me. All right, so we got our garlic up in there. And I'm going to mix that around. It smells kind of sweet, which is interesting. So we're supposed to cook this for about 2 minutes. And then we're supposed to add the chicken stock and the grains. The grains first, and then the chicken stock. And wilt them down. It's kind of fascinating, actually. The aroma of the peppers and the aroma of the apple cider vinegar and the peppers. You can see the peppers in here, and the onions and the garlic. It's a heady scent. So while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to throw this out. And since we dropped one of the garlics, I'm going to add a little bit more. So I'm going to make sure I get all the flavor. Now, I've made this in a crock pot. I've made this on the stovetop. And both ways are highly effective. I have garlic all over my hands. All right, so these are kind of ready. And now I'm going to start adding the green. And you're going to kind of scooch them down there. That's a technical term, scooch. Scooch them down there in the flavor. You know what? I think all of these are going to cook at some point. Sometimes you have to let them cook down a little bit and then add more greens as needed because they won't all fit in here like in their current state. I'm wilting them down. Trying to force them all in this pot so that I actually have some greens left when this is all over. Because you know, collard greens get real tiny as they cook. This also doubles as a one-armed workout. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I crack myself up. It's ridiculous. All right. So that was the last of the greens in that bowl. And what I'm trying to do is force these in here. Oh. I'm trying to make sure that we don't have any like burnt onions on the bottom. All right, so now what I'm going to do is add the liquid. Try to get it down in there. This is 1.5 cups of veggie stock. And then I need another half cup because it said 2 cups. And you know what? That's all she wrote. It's a little bit too much water, but you know, hey, I mean, water stock. This is 3/4 cups. But we got a lot of greens here, so I don't know if they meant to deal with this many collard greens in one setting. So we got it in the pot. Hallelujah. What I'm going to do is cover this bad boy for now and then come back and see and stir it up after it wilts a little bit. I'll bring you back then. Okay, so now we're going to do the black-eyed peas. And we're not doing these from scratch because frankly, I've never cooked black-eyed peas before in my life. I do know that it's an African American and possibly a Southern tradition to cook black-eyed peas, collard greens, and cornbread for New Year's Day, to bring in the new year. And supposedly it's supposed to bring you luck and prosperity. And so I think we can use all the prosperity we can have this year. So I'm going to go ahead and actually honor that tradition. Okay. case you're wondering why I'm wandering around and not in front of the camera, it's because I couldn't find a spoon to cook with. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and melt this butter, and we're supposed to have certain seasonings. So a half a teaspoon of onion powder and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. All right, so here's the onion powder, and what I'm doing is I'm blooming the seasonings in the butter. And I'm using this Kinder's wood fire garlic. That's why this garlic powder is brown instead of white. And we're supposed to have a quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm using this cayenne pepper that's been in my cabinet forever, and it's not the only one. So this is part of my Use My Seasoning campaign. All right, so then we're supposed to have, let's bloom these bad boys. Now, these Blackeye peas in a can actually are seasoned. It's the only kind I can find this day at my Publix, which is a very sad Publix, let me tell you. They have the tiniest butternut squashes like I had ever seen in my life. All right, so they're supposed to be a half a teaspoon, I don't know why, of apple cider vinegar. This is like everywhere. And a half a teaspoon, and I probably should have gotten this first, of sugar. Now, they asked for white sugar, but I really don't do white sugar. I only have this coconut sugar. So I'm gonna use, which has been in my cabinet forever because I don't even use that. So here's the sugar. I'm using it up. And it's good and gather, so I must have gotten it from Target or something. So let me do this before the season belly, you know that happen. And now I'm actually gonna add the peas, which I'm using this Glory Simply Seasoned brand. Let's hope it's okay because they're already seasoned, so I'm kind of scared. All right, let me get these out. Then they call for a half a cup of water. So what I'm gonna do is get the rest of these peas out like this. All right. Then I'm gonna mix this around. Um, and it says salt and pepper to taste, but I'm gonna give it a chance before I do. So it says stir frequently until heated through and the water begins to boil. So we're gonna do that. And it says stirring frequently. In the meantime, back at the ranch, we're gonna check out these greens. I used to read those like Nancy Drew books and a whole bunch of crazy books when I was young. And they always said something like, meanwhile, back at the ranch. So I kind of adopted those sayings. It always makes my friends giggle. All right. And tell me how crazy I am. So these are like really wilted down. I'm amazed. Oh, you know what? I put that sugar away. Oh, no, I didn't. Too fast. All right. So now that these are wilted down, they're supposed to cook like 20 minutes, but they've been on for a while. So I'm going to give them 15. But now that I've mixed them all up in the pot, looking good. Smelling good too. We'll let them cook down a little bit more because we like our greens cooked in the South. Although I don't consider Miami to be the South, really. It's more like Latin America. It's more like a melting pot, basically. So this is starting to come up to the boil, but it's very watery. And I'm thinking they need to cook down a little bit more. Like, I don't like my beans as hard. They're like little pebbles. So I'm going to let these cook down for a few minutes, and then we'll come back. I thought I was filming, but I was talking to myself while the camera was on photo. All right, so the beans have gotten soft. Much of the liquid has been absorbed, and these are kind of spicy. I didn't put any additional salt in here because they're pretty well seasoned now. So I'm going to leave them be, and I'm going to cover these up because they're ready. The greens, I went ahead and put some of the secret weapon in here. So I put a little bit more of apple cider vinegar, but you got to be careful how much vinegar you put in there because you can put too little and then add a little bit more. But if you put too much, you're in trouble. And I also, this is the timer on the greens. I also put in some more crushed red pepper flakes because I didn't have hot sauce, so I couldn't find it. Shh, don't tell anybody, because if you tell anybody, they're going to revoke my black card and my Panamanian card. But I couldn't find any hot sauce in my house, which if any of my friends or family knew, like, it's a travesty. So I used a little bit more red pepper flakes. And then I used some more of my coconut palm sugar because my mom's secret weapon was hot sauce and sugar to counteract the bitterness. The greens need to cook down a little bit more, so I'm going to give them like 10 more minutes and see where we are then. All right, so while we wait for the greens to stew down, I'm going to make the cornbread because supposedly the cornbread represents gold. So this is probably the most important part of the meal, theoretically. But I didn't do it from scratch. I'm ashamed to say I'm going straight up Jiffy. So it says to add the egg and to add the milk. And I'm going to use my little Danish dough whisk here to whisk up the cornbread. So we're going to do this. And they say it's going to be a lumpy dough, which they were not lying. Speaking of a ubiquitous day, I like to joke about having my black card revoked, but bottom line is people can be ignorant from all different walks of life, right? And I wouldn't have friends or family that were like that. So although I may joke about it, my mother raised us to be all inclusive and to judge people based on how they treat us, right? How they treat others and how they treat us. So we have friends. She always had friends of all different backgrounds. She was in the military. She went to the military when she was 17. That's where she met my dad. One of them was in the Army and the other one was in the Air Force. I can't remember which was which. And she was a nurse. All right. So we got this lumpy dough here. Is it supposed to be this lumpy? Kind of strange. Well, I'm preheating the oven to 400 degrees, 1 package of Jiffy, 1 egg, 1/3 a cup of milk. Oh, you know what? I might not have added enough milk. Let me add a little bit more. Oh, let me add the milk. That might help. Okay. I'm like, wow, no wonder it was dry. All right, so let's mix this in. Over here talking my head off instead of focusing on my work. That's me. Normally, I'm listening to an audiobook when I cook. I love listening to audiobooks. And I either listen to romance novels, like romantic suspense. I love action movies and I like romance. And that's what I write too. I'm a romantic suspense author. Or I'm listening up to straight up, thriller or suspense, like James Bond type stuff. Because I like action movies. And that's my thing. And I have an Audible membership because I listen to a lot of books and they have some free ones on there and I get a new one every month. And for me, it makes sense to get the Audible membership. This is much better. And I'm going to leave my Audible link down below because if you want to listen to audiobooks while you cook, and let me tell you, it helps the time go by. And they have some great stuff on there, and they have a lot of free content too in their Audible Plus catalog. Thank goodness, because otherwise I'd be broke as many books as I like to buy. So if you sign up under me, you'll get some free books and you'll support the channel. So I will be forever grateful. All right. It's an affiliate link. You know, if you actually join Audible, I'll get some money at no extra cost to you. And it won't be a lot of money, but it would help support the channel. All right. So the oven is ready. And we're supposed to grease our muffin tin. I'm just going to put that in the sink. Which I'm going to do now. And I think it only makes 2 muffins. So I'm going to put them in these 2 middle muffin tins. Let's see how we do this. And it says like 2/3 full. That is the most annoying sound known to man, but my hands are full right now. No, actually, the most annoying sound is the timer on my phone. I use that to do writing sprints. Oh my goodness. When that thing goes off, I want to fling my computer across the room. All right. It's a little bit over full, but we got that in there. I turned off the timer, and we're going to go ahead and put these in the oven. All right, so let's check out these greens and see how they're doing. They look a little bit more tender. You can see they really wilted down from where they were before, like over the almost over the top of the pot to like all the way down here. See if we can taste one without burning ourselves to death. That is hot. Mmm, that is good. It can take a little bit more. A little bit more sugar. Not that much. And a tiny little bit more vinegar. Now, I know I have sriracha in this house somewhere because I remember buying it. I even remember seeing it, and I've never used it in my life. So it's in here somewhere. But I don't know if I'm destined to find it tonight. Let's see. It smells so good. All right. One more time. Mm. Hmm. If you could taste these greens, you'd be a happy camper. Okay. So the beans are done. The greens are done. Pretty much I'm gonna let them just do a little tiny bit more and let those flavors know. We got the corn muffin in the oven. When I come back, we're gonna be pulling them out. All right, the alarm went off. Ooh, they rose. They rose. All right, I'm gonna pull these out and let them cool, and then we're gonna plate this up. Okay, so how did it turn out? Here goes the plate. As you can see here, we have the collard greens, we have the black-eyed peas, and we have the gold, the Jiffy cornbread corn butter. And I have some butter over here. I have butter on the brain, apparently. So let's get the butter on here. Kind of hard to do one-handed, let me tell you. But I'm about to manage. All right. I'm one determined child, apparently. So we got the butter on there. I'll have to spread it better later. And now let's do a quick taste test. First, we're going to taste these collard greens because I want to. That brings back memories of my mother and my baby sister because she also cooks a mean collard green. I'm really happy with those. Okay. Now we're going to try these black-eyed peas. Really spicy, but good. They're really spicy. I think I got a little happy with the cayenne pepper in that one. If I ever make them again, I'm probably going to put like a little bit of tomato paste or tomato in there. I think it needs something sweet. All right, let me try the cornbread. We knew that was going to be good. Of course, I ate the part with the butter, so. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and like it. Please consider subscribing so you can see the rest of the video in this series. I'm having a lot of fun with this challenge so far. Of course, this is only day one. On the menu is going to be collard greens for the entire week because the Lord knows I cooked enough of them. As a matter of fact, I only cooked half of them and I have more of them. So I think I might cook the other half and freeze them. We'll have to see. There's another serving of these black-eyed peas, so I'll be having that as well. I'm also going to be cooking chicken noodle soup because it's been cool here in Florida. and I'm going to move for soup. And I have some rotisserie chickens I need to use up and then make broth out of. And I'm going to be cooking a loaded taco sweet potato with seitan. And I'm doing that because I have some sweet potatoes that I need to use up as well. Those go bad, in my experience, first in the cabinet. So I'll be doing that. And then for breakfast, I'll be making a double chocolate brownie baked oatmeal, which is supposed to be a high protein dish. And I'm excited about that because I like baked oatmeal. And maybe a protein granola for a snack. This way I'll be using up my rolled oats. Both of these recipes use that big old bag of oats that you saw me have down there. All right. So I'll see you soon with the next video. Take care. Bye.